You are tuned into BBC Essex. I'm Kath Melandry with you till 2. Let's change the subject slightly, shall we? We've talked a lot about restrictions and things we can't do. So why don't we celebrate something today? The Poetry Society announced the winners of the Foyle Young Poet of the Year awards yesterday. One young poet from Chelmsford, 17-year-old Preesha Jain, is in the top 15 winners out of over 6,000 entries from 118 countries. We'll be speaking to her in a moment or two. Of course, at this point, I normally would suggest you call up with your poetry. But if you want to maybe not do that, but if you could just text in like a famous or a wonderful line of poetry, your favourite poem, we would love that. Just text those in. We're not having you do it on the programme, but you just text those in. 81333, start your message with the word Essex, so we can celebrate a beautiful poetry on the programme. So if you have a line of a poem that you love that we're allowed to read out, do that for us, why don't you? But yes, let's talk about this, and let's talk to our wonderful winner, Preesha Jain. So the Poetry Society have been running this for the last 22 years, and yesterday they announced the winners of the Foyle Young Poets of the Year awards. And really wonderful news. One young poet from Chelmsford is 17-year-old Preesha Jain, and you've done amazingly well, Preesha. So can I say first of all, congratulations?
Thank you so much.
This is a real accolade, because 6,000 entries from 118 countries, and you're in the top 15.
Yeah, it's just really crazy to think that. I wasn't expecting to win this at all. So it's just really great.
So, OK, first of all, a little overwhelmed. Then you got to sit there going, oh, top international poet. I think it feels good to me, yeah?
Yeah.
Good. I want you to sound with a bit more swagger, please, Preesha. This is brilliant news. How did you hear about the competition, first of all?
So basically, I just saw a lot of posters in the corridors around my school about this poetry competition. So it was just kind of a thing that was in the back of my mind. And then when lockdown started, I just sort of wrote some poems, and I wasn't writing them for a competition explicitly. But once I finished, I was quite proud of them. And then I just kind of remembered, Foyle Young Poets. So I did some research about it online, and I thought it was this massive international competition, and winning it gives me so many opportunities. So I just thought, go for it. So yeah, that's how I heard about it.
Preesha, did you always write poetry, or was it because of lockdown and a little bit of inspiration for the competition? But do you think lockdown really has unlocked your inner poet?
So yeah, when I was younger, I just used to write some poems here and there, just for fun. But it wasn't really a thing that I was good at. I just kind of did it for school. But over the years, I guess I kind of forgot about it. But when in year 10, we started to analyse poetry for my GCSE English exam, and I just saw the whole thing in a new light. I saw that every word kind of had a meaning behind it. It had a purpose. My English teacher, Mr. Copper, really helped me see that. So after that, I guess I just grew to love it, and lockdown was the excuse for me to start writing poetry.
Have you always been good with creative writing in general? Was it stories before that?
Yeah, I did used to write some stories, and I always kind of enjoyed it. So I guess it just kind of led me into poetry as well. So
what were you planning? Forgive me for not knowing. Are you in year 11 or year 12?
I'm in year 12 now.
OK, so you've got your A-levels coming up this year.
Next year, yeah.
OK, yeah, forgive me, of course. So there's coming up next year. So how's this working out for what you want to do? Has this changed path for you, or did you plan to be a poet at any time?
Well, I actually wanted to be a doctor, so I was going down the medicine route. So poetry is just kind of like a hobby I do on the side. It hasn't actually made me want to change my career path, but definitely more of a thing that I hope to do in the future alongside a medical career.
OK, so that would be something you would absolutely need, I think. If you were being a doctor in modern times, it would be really useful for you to be able to have something creative to relax with. And, you can have a bit of both. I always think of Adam Kay, who's writing books and was a successful doctor. So you never know what you'll be able to combine in the future. What do you do now with this, Preesha? What do you think you might do? Do you think you might enter some more competitions?
Yeah, so as part of my prize, I'm going to get a lot of mentoring and help from the poets. So I just hope to be able to develop my own writing style and just keep writing more poems. And hopefully I'll get better. And yeah, I hope to be able to enter more competitions and see where this whole poetry thing takes me.
Okay, now we haven't heard your award-winning entry, so we must hear it now if that's all right with you. You don't mind us asking, do you? You don't mind reading it for us?
I would love to.
Oh, amazing. Right, so Preesha, are you ready?
Yeah.
The floor belongs to you.
Okay, so this is my poem called My Grandmother. My grandmother wears silk saris, woven with soft threads from India, stained with rich indigo dye. Tiny peacocks perch in the folds, and flecks of gold adorn them like jewels, sparkling with every movement. A red bindi sits between her brows. She's a queen, but in Tesco, she's an obscurity in the spice aisle. My grandmother has silver hair, plaited in intricate patterns, with garlands of yellow marigold tucked into the strands, accompanied with a sprinkling of sweet-smelling jasmine flowers, the marriage of the sun and moon. But in Sainsbury's, she's an oddity amongst the frozen chapatis. My grandmother speaks in Hindi, the language of saffron mangoes and fragrant blushing lotuses. It flows like the Ganga, with praises like honeyed rose petals, and even the stinging cusses like a biting Karela sound like a nightingale song. But her broken English, in Morrison's, reduces her to suspicious looks at the pickle shelf. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Preesha. What a beautiful poem, and what a lovely thing to write about your grandmother. So why was she the subject of your poem?
So I just took a lot of inspiration from her, from like traditional Indian culture. So it kind of takes that and puts it in the context of British supermarkets. And the point of it is to showcase the irony of people like consuming products that are originally Indian, but they just look down on the culture and the country that those products are actually from, just because it's different to their own. So I would say that I've seen people being insensitive, and I just wanted this poem to like highlight that problem and showcase the beauty of the people in the culture. So that's why I use my grandmother as the main icon.
And I'm really happy to say she's heard this poem. Did she hear it before you submitted it?
No, actually no one knew that I was submitting it. My parents didn't know either.
Oh, hang on. You went a bit rogue and just put this in without letting the family know you were planning on winning a poetry competition.
No, it was just, I had no expectations when I was entering. So it was just something I did for myself. I just didn't tell anyone about it. So
okay,
yeah,
so all right, that's a great
yeah.
deal more humble than I'm getting. I'm getting my head round. So what did your grandmother think when she heard this poem?
Oh, she really loved it. I mean, English isn't her first language, but you know, I told her what it means, and yeah, she was just really proud. She really loved it.
Can you speak Hindi?
Yeah, I can.
So were you able? Does it translate well when you do it in Hindi?
I didn't actually translate the poem into Hindi. I just kind of told her what it meant. So yeah, she got the gist of it.
Good. Oh, well, that's gorgeous. I'm imagining her and the rest of your family are incredibly proud.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, that's wonderful. And again, I didn't ask because I don't know, but I've got to ask, what do we get? So you get this wonderful accolade. Do you get some books? Do you get a voucher? Do you get anything for it?
Yeah, so each of the winners, they received a parcel full of little prizes. So I got a nice poster with a poem on it, and I got a whole range of poetry books. So like war poems, Caribbean poems. And the Poetry Society also commissioned an artist to make a piece to bring all the winning entries together. So I got a print of that, which was really nice. And other than that, I received some mentoring in the future.
Oh, what? Preesha, this sounds like quite a good competition to have entered, an amazing thing to have won. Well, I'll say it one more time because I think it's well worth celebrating that we have an award-winning poet in Chelmsford. Congratulations. It was brilliant. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Well, all I'm going to say to you is good luck with the studies. I know we're in strange times, but keep going. And I think you're going to be a very successful doctor/poet.
Thank you.
All right. Well, at the very least, when someone's not feeling well, you can cheer them up with a beautiful, beautiful poem. And at the very best, you can release your anthology and still cure folk. Preesha Jain, congratulations. It was a real pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks for having me.
Take care. Preesha Jain there. An award-winning poet from Chelmsford, hearing about that really wonderful piece that she put together to win that competition from the Poetry Society that are running the Foyle Young Poets of the Year Awards. And she's one of the top 15 winners. And I think we can say, on behalf of everyone in Essex, we're proud. We're proud to have someone quite so smart in the county. More music on the way, but I would love, I don't know if you're a poetry fan, rather than reading it out, don't do that. Just text me in maybe your favourite poem or even a line from a poem